All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. And this is going to be a video on how the beast shall hate the whore, going into how America's allies in the other NATO countries and the other EU countries are pretty much eventually and are really starting to hate America, and in ways that we do not know yet. They will all be secretly making deals with countries like Russia and countries like China and with all of the BRICS nations, because they're starting to really see the playbook that America is coming with, right? And I accidentally clicked on this video here anyway, but I did type in on YouTube the death of NATO. And the reason why I'm doing that is because on a TV screen that you cannot see, like I was watching a video earlier and then it just went on to this video afterwards. I was watching a video on how America has offered or has said that they want 500 billion worth of Ukrainian resources, right? They've said they want 500 billion worth of Ukrainian resources to help out and carry on giving Ukraine weapons, and that's basically showed, or that would, if the other NATO countries are paying attention, which Ukraine's not a NATO country, but the whole thing that started that war anyway was them bringing back up the idea of Ukraine joining NATO. And I just looked up a few things, and I have made a post on this channel, and I found an article from 17 years ago where Russia was saying, if you try and make Ukraine join NATO, we're going to pretty much redirect our missiles towards Ukraine. And they stood true on their word, because they did exactly that when they tried to put the offer out there again to Ukraine. Now, that's the whole reason why this whole war is going on between Ukraine and Russia right now, despite what people want to try and say and make it like Russia's just attacking them for no reason. No, it's not for no reason. It's because they tried to join something that they said they wasn't going to join. And therefore, they became a threat to Russia by them saying that they wanted to do that, which then caused for this war to take place that's happening. But the whole thing was caused by America, and yet now America is saying, okay, in order for us to help you out anymore, considering we pretty much feel like we've helped you enough already, we're going to need you to give us some of your resources, which is the real wealth of the country. Paper money and all that isn't really nothing. It's the actual minerals is the real wealth, and that's the same playbook that they have normally did on those African countries and of certain Asian countries, man. Certain countries in Asia, you know what I mean? That's the reason why they normally invade and say that these countries got this weapons of this, and this country's got these weapons of that. That's normally a tactic that they use on those countries where the people have got brown skin. But now they're doing it amongst each other. And if all these countries, these other Edomite countries are paying attention, they'll understand, or should understand, that, okay, well then what would happen if Russia came at us then next after they defeat Ukraine? Does that mean that they're gonna come at us now? And they're gonna say to us, okay, in order for us to help you out anymore, because we feel like we've sent you enough of our weapons, since we as Americans was the main ones buying all the weapons while all you other countries was just trying to build up your cities and your countries in other different ways. We was the ones that were staying true to the amount of GDP that we were supposed to give. And in fact, we went above board of our GDP to carry on buying weapons, and you all wasn't doing that. So now we're going to try and get back the money that you wasn't paying back then. We're going to get it now. Because you should have, and now you're starting to understand why you should have paid what we told you to pay. So now, since you didn't do that, okay, we want some of your natural resources. We want access to some of your money. Okay, you didn't normally, they're going to come up with things that they can do to make money. Okay, you didn't previously want us to bring our Americanized foods over here, but now wherever you normally get your chickens from, cancel that order and get an order from us, because we're going to try and recuperate all the money that we've lost in times past through your country now. And this is going to make all these countries hate the whore, because they're starting to look at what happened with Ukraine, and they're like, okay, so Ukraine's not necessarily a NATO member, but they're trying to ask for 500 billion. That would destroy our economy if they was to offer us that much, and they're starting to think, well, hang on, what would happen if they're not, I'm not saying they're officially doing it, but behind the scenes they would be. They were thinking, well, okay, since you're doing that to them, what about if they was to do that to us? And they'll start looking through their country and be like, well, what could America try and ask of us for if we was to end up in war? And clearly, we know as a countries, none of us by ourselves can even really handle to go against Russia in a war over here in Europe. Russia's really the strongest army in the continent of Europe, right? China would be the strongest army in the continent of Asia, I would personally say, right? But there might be some other countries that have got some things to compete. And then America would be the strongest country in the continent of America, of the Americas, right? And in general, they might be one of the strongest in general, right? It might go Russia, America, or some people might say America, Russia, then China, or no, excuse me, America, then Russia, then China, or Russia, America, then China. But that's like the top three. And these other countries should be starting to realize that if they find themselves in a war that they know that they can't win, but then they kind of are stuck, because Russia ain't going to back down if they find themselves in that situation. And America can well have them now where, okay, do you want help? Give me some money. It's almost, and to use a worldly scenario, imagine there's a man dying a thirst, right? A man's dying a thirst. And if he doesn't get water, he's going to die. And you come up to him and offer him a bottle of water, and he reaches out his hand to pay for it, and you say, okay, that's going to run you 1 million. Now, if that man's in a situation like that, he kind of is left with no choice. What are you gonna do? You're gonna accept the outrageous deal that I'm offering you, or you're gonna die first? And that's what they did to Ukraine. Oh, you don't want to give us 500 million, 500 billion of your resources? Okay, we ain't gonna give you no weapons. Let's see how you feel after after Russia starts messing y'all up a bit more. Let's see if you want the deal now. And they might go so outrageous where they say, okay, you didn't want to offer that deal then, and now your country's even more destroyed. So really you need even more weapons. Since you didn't want 500 billion, how about 550 billion now? You should have took the first offer I gave you. Or you don't want to pay 550 billion? Okay. Let's see how you feel after they've messed you up a bit more. Now since you didn't want 550 billion, 600 billion. I want 600 billions worth now. Oh, you didn't want 600? Okay, let's see how you feel after they mess you up a bit more. Now I want 700 billion worth. Or they could have never planned to really want 500 billion worth anyway, and could have just went more extreme and outrageous with it. And be like, okay, we'll go high, because we know that even if they shave off 50% of that, we only really wanted 100 billion worth. Or we only really wanted 350 billion worth, which is roughly the amount that I think I heard in one of the DJT's recent speeches, that he said that roughly America's gave Ukraine about 350 billion. So they're trying to get back their money with some profit right now, which really, if you think of it from a perspective of that, they are perfectly in their right to do so. You know, they're perfectly in their right to do that, man. In the kingdom of heaven, we're going to be drinking the milk of the Gentiles, man. He says we're going to suck the breast of the Gentiles, but we ain't going to be doing it based on war. We're going to be doing it based on other things, right? But I just wanted to do this video to show methods as to how the beast is going to hate the whore. Because then they'll be like, well, what caused, or if they were smart, they'd be like, well, what caused this war in Ukraine? Was it not because America was telling us and suggesting that Ukraine should join NATO, right? And now the whole reason to what NATO was actually really intended for in general anyway was that if a country comes up against us in war, we're gonna all fight against them. We're not really doing that. It's not really going that way. So they kind of lied. They kind of lied, and now it's kind of like, really, we didn't. Excuse me. We didn't need to really be about the NATO thing, because the NATO thing ain't doing then what the NATO thing was supposed to be about. They ain't really, you know what I mean? And we ain't really on that war thing. And if these other countries do start doing behind the scenes deals that they don't tell America about, they might start realizing, man, Russia ain't as bad as what they was trying to go on like. China ain't as bad as what they was trying to go on like. We're allowing them to bring their cars into our countries now and all these different products that they're making, and the people are happy. Like we're able to tax the people and and we're able to make money from this. We're able to get cheaper fuel from this and that. We're able to, like, our country's actually flourishing, minus that warmongering country of America, minus them keep trying to tell us to not side with this and not side with that. We're actually all right. They actually lied about about how bad these people are. They're actually not as bad as they was trying to make out. So now they end up realizing that America's actually a problem. It's got nothing to do with, oh, Russia's trying to be like this. No, actually, it's you Americans that are actually trying to do that. And you screwed over Ukraine. That's the kind of way they're going to start thinking. You screwed over Ukraine. And had they have not said what you wanted, there wouldn't have been no war between them and Russia. Like, it's gonna really get down to the wire, and we're starting to see methods as to how people are gonna hate America, because they're already moving in, wanting to move into Gaza, right? They're already what else, man? There's been so many things. They've wanted to move into Gaza. They're saying 500 billion for that. Like, ain't no telling where who's next. It's almost like, who's next? What else is he gonna say? And it's still 2 days from when he's officially would have been president for 1 month. He officially became president, was inaugurated on the 20th, right? It's the 18th now today, right? So that's not even a full month, like a full 30 days period of time, man. And look at all the stuff that's already gone on. There's already been a lot that's took place already. You see what I mean? And we're starting to see easily how they can and will hate the whole, man, because they really pretty much threw them under the bus, man. It was like, yeah, it's almost like it's almost, in my opinion, man, if I was a person in that country, I'd be like, or even me looking outside up, this is how I do think about it. In fact, it's almost like they set that up. It's like, yeah, we want to kind of see where Russia's at with the weapons game. So you know what? Let's kind of tell them, yeah, join this and join that, just to see how good they are. It's almost like, let me use a worldly example, man. People want to know how tough a guy is on their road, because they kind of see him, he kind of quiet, but he kind of looks tough. And they're like, okay, they say to a guy, okay, you want to join our crew? You want to join our little gang that we got going on? Okay, you see that guy over there? Yeah, the big one. You go over to that guy and fight him. And if he starts beating you up, don't worry, I'll back it anyway. But if you want to join the crew, you got to beat him up. And then he goes over to him and just starts to proceed to get his ass whooped, right? And then all the other guys start looking at him and like, man, I ain't helping you. You're mad. I ain't getting involved in that. That guy's tough. He's way tougher than I thought he was. You ain't officially in the gang. You ain't officially in the gang, so I ain't helping you. Like, the contract that we got as our crew is that we really only help our gang, and you ain't officially in the gang. So anything I did or didn't say to you isn't really a fit. Okay, I'll throw you a bat. I'll throw you a baseball bat, and you can try and swing that bat at him, but I ain't getting involved in it myself. And then he throws him the bat, and he tries to swing the bat, and he blocks it, parries that, still whoops his ass, because he's got a bat too. You know what I mean? And that's what America pretty much did to Ukraine. There's like, yeah, we'll throw you some weapons to help you fight this guy, but we ain't officially fighting with you now. I'll throw you a rusty blade or something. I'll throw you something, but I ain't getting involved in the mix now. I ain't doing that. And they've realized that guy that they messed with, they should have left him alone. And then now that to go back to the worldly example, now that he's been beat up, the guy that they tried to force to go into the battle, now he's got a black eye and all that, bruised up. Now they go and side with the guy that they tried to set up to get into the fight in the first place anyway, because they wanted to test how strong he is. Now they're like, oh man, allow the beef. You know what I mean? Allow the beef, man. We shouldn't be fighting. Fuck, nah, man. Allow it, man. Allow it, man. Let's do a peace treaty. Allow it, fam. That's what they did. That's a worldly example of how they did Ukraine, man. They set them up. They set them up, and they've allowed now Russia to get trained to where they're now battle hardened, man. To where they've got battle hardened soldiers that have been having a field day with Ukraine, despite what people want to say. Their countries increased during that war. They've increased, man. They haven't decreased. Whereas NATO and their things seems to have decreased, really, when you pay attention to how they're going on. And that's why they're the ones pushing for the peace. The person pushing for the peace is the one that's really struggling, man. And it's still up in the air regarding what happened with that pipeline that went from Germany to Russia. That's still up in the air as to what the hell took place in that, man. So people are going to hate the war because their reason lies in that America's only thinking about themselves while they're the ones that are actually closest to the battle. The UK is close to that battle. France, all of these countries in Europe, they're close. Whereas there's a whole ocean, sea, whatever you want to say, between between Russia and America. That you can easily see how they're going to hate them, and because they're going to eventually realize that America is the problem, right? America's the reason why that happened. America's the reason why this happened. America's trying to tell us not to make money with these people, but we ain't really on that war stuff. Okay, we're all about the cashless society thing that they're pushing when we have all these country meetings. Okay, we're all about the cashless thing. Yeah, we understand. We all want to do the same oppressive financial system that you want to do, but that war thing, we ain't really on all that. Like we've already got the countries, all of these people on lock anyway, and we've got more than enough weapons if amongst all of us to handle that. So we're not on that war thing that you're about. We're just down to just do this between us as a group. But you keep trying to do more and more, and you keep bothering Russia. Just leave them alone, and then they're gonna start. It's gonna end up where they're gonna be doing their underhand table deals with Russia, which they're already in groups with Russia anyway. When you look at all these G this and G this number that, and when you see it, you can see that there'll be groups that they're not a part of, but then there'll be a group together in another place, and you're like, well, it's just all bullshit then. And you can see how these countries are going to hate America, man, and how prophecy is going to be fulfilled, and how all these nations that were America's allies are going to betray them. You can see how all the men of thy, how it says in Obadiah, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border, right? And there's even rumors out there going into how Canada is preparing itself in case it might have to go to war with America, and that's right on the border of it. Like they've connected, they literally share the same landmass. Because there's rumors out there on how Canada and Mexico might join BRICS, which would be exact similar same kind of scenario as when America was offering Ukraine to join NATO, because they have the same landmass. Minus them being called different countries, they could have been the same country. Just like how minus America, Mexico, and Canada of being called America, Mexico, and Canada, they really are all one landmass and could have just been one big country. Really. That they really could have just been all one big place, which is the reason why America is saying that Canada, which is a country right now, should become America's 51st state, which is absolutely ridiculous. Because why would a country downgrade itself to become a state or a part of another country? That's absolutely ridiculous. Why would they do that? It doesn't even make any sense. Like America's been on a world tour of mocking and trying to bully the other nations since the 20th, really, of January. And you can see how easily all these nations are going to hate the Horman, because they're just moving fast like an eagle and on a mad one out here. And yeah, I'm gonna end the lesson there, man. I just thought I'd speak about that a bit because you can see how it's gonna come to pass that they are gonna be and are gonna be hated, man. And on that, I'm gonna say shalom to the elect.